In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the C++ Tic-Tac-Toe assignment, and of course you can do it with Java or any other programming language you want. And the objective of this assignment is to introduce you to two-dimensional lists. Now that can be a two-dimensional array, it can be a two-dimensional array list if you're using Java, or vector if you're using C++. And the assignment here simply says create a tic-tac-toe game. Now, of course, we want to be a little bit more specific than that. So it says, continuously display the state of the tic-tac-toe grid. And that's what we store in the two-dimensional array. Two players take turns entering input in the form of an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. If it is the first player's turn, an x is inserted at that location they enter. If it is the second player's turn, an O is inserted at their chosen location. If one player has 3 of their letter in a row, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, they are declared the winner and the game stops asking for input. And then I have a couple hints here on how to do this. It's a really good idea to create a separate function for displaying the grid. And then you can just call it again and again and again inside the loop every time you get input. Another hint here is to try to design your solution logically, perhaps on paper, before writing any of your code. That's just a good rule of thumb for any project you do. And then you need to do some error checking here. You need to make sure that a user can't enter a spot that's already taken. So they can't put an X where there's already an O, for example. You also need to make sure that they can't enter a location that's not on the grid. So if they try to enter the coordinates 4, 0, that's not on the grid. So in either of those cases, you need to reprompt. You need to ask them to enter a different location. And then as an extra credit option, instead of creating tic-tac-toe, you could create connect 4, which is a little different. You can play it online and figure out how it works. And the help resources I have here says, grid-based games are fun to make, but if this is your first one, you may wonder how to begin. So I wrote a program of another simple grid-based game and included a lot of helpful comments throughout to help you get started. Please read through it thoroughly. So I have a couple different files here. If you're doing C++, you can download this one, or Java, this one. And I'm going to do another video to demonstrate how that works. Okay, so let's take a look at the tic-tac-toe program. As you can see here, I was able to do it in less than 100 lines of code. I don't expect you to be able to do that, but if you're going 200 lines or more, you're probably doing it in a way that could be improved a little bit. So let me know if you're really struggling there. All right, so let's just run it. This is the display I've created. Yours doesn't have to be that fancy, but if you want to, I can help you make it look like that. There's a lot of ways to do it. I'm not super concerned about how it looks as long as it's got 9 squares, 9 spaces. You don't even have to have the grid lines. Anyway, so it says player X's turn. Enter a row value. So I've programmed it to take in a 1, a 2, or a 3, and that will determine what row I'm going to put my X on. So let's say 3. And then it asks for a column value. So that'll determine which column the X is going to go in. Let's say 3 also. So as you can see here, the updated grid is displayed, and we have an X in the position 3, 3. Okay, now it's player O's turn, and it says enter a row value. And I'm going to say 1, 1, which of course is not a good move, as you'll see in a second why. Now it's X's turn, and I'm going to say row 3 and column 1. Okay, so now I have an X right here, and it's O's turn. And so O is going to be smart, and they're going to say, well, I don't want him to win, so I'm going to go right there, which is row 3 and column 2. And it's X's turn again, and I'm going to go on row 1 and column 3. Now there's nothing that O can do to stop me. Let's say he tries to stop me here, so let's say he puts in a row 2 and column 2. And X puts in a 2 and a 3, and X wins, yay! Now I'm going to run it again here just to show you what happens if I enter bad input values. So it says enter a row value. I'm going to put row 2, and it says enter a column value. Now it only goes to 3, of course, so let's try a number bigger than 3. Let's try column 5. It says bad input, try again. So it didn't put an X or an O down, and it's still X's turn. I'm going to say row 2 and column 2, and it put the X down. Okay, same thing with O's. If O tries to go in row 4 and column 1, even though column 1 is correct, the row was too big. So it's going to make me enter another row and column value. So I can say row 2, column 1, and now it worked. Okay. The other thing you have to do is make sure that you can't enter a space that's already taken. So it's X's turn. If he were to try to go here, he shouldn't be able to, right? Because O is already in that spot. So I'm going to try. I'm going to say row 2, column 1, and it says bad input, try again. And now I get to try again. Let's say row 2, column 3. That was a bad move, but whatever. At least it was legal. All right? So that's what the tic-tac-toe program should look like when you're done. Something similar to this. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, of course. You should take in coordinates each time and check whether you're allowed to put your letter there. And then if somebody gets 3 in a row, it says they win.